Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the posting of the national colors and the singing of the national anthem.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad strokes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streamed. And the rockets from the bombs bursting in gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ready, folks. Ready, folks. Forward, march.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for coming here. The Maxwell Student Veterans Center Veterans Day celebration. My name is Alan Ezell. I am the Maxwell Student Veterans Center coordinator. And I would like to start off, before I get going, to do some acknowledgments and some introductions, starting with Lane Community College President, Dr. Marge Hamilton, the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Mindy Duke, the LCC Veterans Academic Advisor, Mr. Will Vollmer, and the University of Oregon Academic Advisor and Diversity Initiative Specialist, Mr. Damien Pitts. Is he here? Okay. Well, it's Veterans Day. Actually, it's Veterans Day tomorrow. I think we all know. But we're celebrating Veterans today, Veterans Day today. And we're celebrating all vets. Okay, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and even Space Force, that new branch of service that we have. We need to make sure we get honorable mention to the Space Force guys. Here in Lake County, we have 30,000 veterans. I think a lot of times we may miss the point on that we live in a county that's in the top 10% of counties nationwide. 30,000 veterans. We have 1,000 currently serving military personnel across the county, between the Army Reserve, the Army National Guard, the Marine Corps Reserve, the Navy Reserve, and the Coast Guard. We have about 200 active duty, and we have 800 reserve deployment, for a total of 1,000 military personnel here in Lane County. And I think they oftentimes don't really get recognized. We don't think of ourselves so much as being a community that has such a high military footprint, but we do. And we forget about it. And today we're gonna at least recognize all these things that both are currently serving veterans, okay, and our veterans of both foreign wars and peacetime service and all the things that they've done. We have veterans in this county that have served in every conflict from World War II all the way up to the present, to include the current conflicts going on in Iraq, Afghanistan, and ongoing operations in Kosovo, in Somalia, in Jordan. And the color guard that we have here today is composed of veterans of all of those things that I've just mentioned. They just, within the last year, have returned from operations in Kosovo and in Somalia and in Jordan, etc., among many others. Today's a day where we can really take the time to celebrate how we're the same. As veterans, and all of you, whether you're a veteran yourself or whether you know a veteran, we can celebrate how we're the same. We can celebrate how we all stood up and we raised our right hand. And we took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We all stood up and we all answered the call, whatever that call was. Whether that call was to go to Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Panama, Korea, World War II, any of those. We all stood up and we answered whatever call that we were given. We all wrote a blank check worth up to and including our life, if need be, for the protection of the nation, the Constitution, and the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who are standing to the left and the right of us. Oftentimes, on Veterans Day, there turns into a big thing in the veterans community about, well, you can't talk about, fallen, or you can't talk about current servicemen because it's veterans. We're just supposed to be talking about veterans. Well, I disagree with that. Okay, I disagree with that because every veteran of the United States military, all the way back to the Revolutionary War, is a veteran, and we're celebrating every one of those veterans. And in those veterans that are included in that is the fallen. Now, we have Memorial Day that is exclusively about the fallen, but I think any Veterans Day that doesn't talk about our fallen service members, I think we're remiss in that, because those are, not only are they veterans too, but those are veterans that they kind of get to the head of the line, right? They're veterans that get special status among all of us. They're almost first among equals with us because they were the ones that did, in fact, give the ultimate sacrifice. If you look over here to your right, you'll see a fallen soldier memorial. As you entered the room, you may have noticed a small table in a place of honor near the front, except for one. The military cache is filled with symbolism. This table is our way of symbolizing the fact that veterans of our honored military are missing from our midst. They're the fallen soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard. They're our brethren. They're unable to be here with us this day, so we remember them. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. The single rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the families and loved ones of our comrades in arms who kept the faith awaiting their return. The ID tags are blank, symbolizing that at any time a similar fate could have awaited any one of us who took up the profession of arms in the noble defense of our nation. The slice of lemon on the bread plate is to remind us of their bitter fate. The salt upon the bread plate is symbolic of the family's tears as they mourn. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us today. The chair is empty. They're not here. Veterans Day is set up on the 11th of November. The reason it's set up on the 11th of November is because it's the day the guns fell silent in World War I. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, after the bloodiest war in human history at the time, the guns stopped firing and there's finding peace. Much of the world celebrates it as Remembrance Day, where they remember the fallen. Here in this country, it's Veterans Day because we remember the fallen, and we remember those who are still in our midst, and we honor them. So, please take a minute today and think about what the day of actually tomorrow, who it is that we're celebrating, and just how many veterans that are around you, and how many people that are around you that may or may not be here. And just take that extra minute, not because they're any better than anybody else, just because they took a minute, they took a step to defend others. That said, it's my pleasure to introduce the president of Lake Community College, Dr. Hamilton.
So much, Al. This is such a momentous day today. My family is full of veterans. I am so emotional about how you all serve, how people that we love serve, and people we don't know serve. A little better? Thank you. So this is extremely special to me. I frequently say, I'm here to thank those of you that do and did what I cannot do, what I couldn't do, and it means so much to me. It really does. So I especially today want to thank the folks that put together today's event. It's a simple event, but it's so memorable. So our color guard, our singer Megan, our Veterans Center coordinator, thank you so much, Alan. Our advisor, our Associate Vice President, Dr. Mindy Dew, thank you. You know, there were years we didn't do this at Lane, and we can't ever let that happen. We must remember, we must thank. And that's just, please, those of you that are here, don't ever let this fade. This is just such an important part of what we do. So many of our employees here at Lane are veterans. And when I first came, I got to know so many of them. Our teachers, our advisors, people in every department. And so many of our students, as we heard from Alan, are veterans. They need us. You know, everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs a little help at some point in their life. And that's what the Maxwell Student Veterans Center is for. I don't know if some of you know this, because you hear me speak about this every year, but the Maxwell Student Veterans Center is named after a World War II veteran, Robert Dale Maxwell. He was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor for conspicuous gallantry and risk of life, above and beyond the call of duty, September 7, 1944. And he came back to Lane, and he taught here in our advanced tech program back in the 60s. He represents all of us. He represents the best of America and what being a veteran was all about. Today, over 360 veterans are served by our center. And if you haven't seen it upstairs, I bet we can do some tours. Is that all right? That would be wonderful. You know, they do workshops, they do tutorials, they talk about benefits. It's just a wonderful place to meet people, to connect, to be amongst folks that have had the same life experiences that they have had. Serving students here at Lane is the heart of what we do. Serving our country is the heart of what our veterans have done. So thank you all for coming here. My job today is just to say thank you. Thank you for those who've served. Thank you for those who continue to serve, and thank you for everybody that put on today's event. So at this point, I'll turn it back over to Alan, our coordinator.
So, as I said earlier, it's a day for us to celebrate how we're the same. This is a day for us to celebrate our ties. This is a day for us to celebrate the brotherhood and sisterhood of the profession of arms. Like I said before, every one of us stood up and raised our right hand and wrote a blank check up to and including our lives, should it be necessary. And I think all of us, when we reflect on that stuff, we think about just how much it meant to all of us. We've all got our own ways of showing it. We've all got our own ways of seeing it. But one thing that I can say is that every one of you that did that, at some point, you were the one in the arena. Whether that arena was duking it out in Baghdad, or whether it was hooking and jabbing it in Afghanistan, or whether it was on the deck of a ship in support, or whether it was doing everything that you needed to do for port security units with the Coast Guard, every one of you was the one in the arena, whether that be for a year, 2 years, 20 years, 30 years. Every one of you is the one in the arena. So there's a veteran of high note. His name was Teddy Roosevelt. And Teddy Roosevelt, you may know, charged up San Juan Hill in a pretty phenomenal attack. When he went on to become a president, when he was running for president, he had one particular individual say, Mr. Roosevelt, I don't think you really did all that stuff. I don't think it was as hard as what you said. I don't think it was everything that you say it was, and I think you're kind of embellishing things. I don't think it was all that tough to do what you did. I think you're a blower. Well, Teddy Roosevelt, he was kind of a stout guy, and he was known for having a bit of a temper. And everybody kind of thought, oh man, Teddy's getting ready to pop and go high and right. But he didn't. He didn't. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, he said this: it's not the critic who counts, not the one who points out where the strong man stumbled or the doer of good deeds could have done better. It's the man who's actually in the arena, his face marred with dust and sweat and blood, who knows the great enthusiasms and the great devotions of high achievement, who errs and comes up short time and time again. For if he wins while doing greatly. If he loses, well, then he loses while striving valiantly, so that his place shall never be with those cold, timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. I submit to you one more time, all of you are my heroes, and all of you, at one point, were the man. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend our ceremony. Thank you so much for taking the time just to remember the veterans of this country. With that said, please stand for the retirement of our college.
Face. He post. Forward. Work.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. You get a chance on your way out. This concludes our ceremony. Two things. Please take a second to go and say thank you to the Color Guard. They're here from the Men of Alpha Company, 2nd Battalion 162 Infantry Regiment here in Springfield. They're some of Lane County's own. And by all means, please feel free to grab some food. Take two. we ordered a bit long, so we want to make sure there's plenty for everybody. Thank you again. Thank you so much for your time.